Is there going to be a battle for the VGK net? Our Chris Golick point blank asked Adin Hill that question, and whether Hill and Logan Thompson have had any discussions about how they expect to divide the time in the crease. That's coming up ahead right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick. Happy Monday to you. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. I know I'm trying to be nice about it. Subscribe on the YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. Of course, you could follow us at Locked On VGK, at Tony Dasco, at TD Chris G on Twitter. So, Chris, you spent the entire bulk of the day on Saturday around the Vegas Golden Knights, the Stanley Cup champions. And you were at the Battle for Vegas, the softball game, and you asked Adin Hill if there's been any communication with LT about a friendly competition for the net.
Yeah, so I mean, I basically asked
Tried to stir it up. I like it.
I don't know about try to stir it up. I mean, I'm curious where their minds are at. And I got from Adin Hill, I got a pretty carbon answer, which is what I expected. I knew what I was going to get when I asked him. I was setting up for the second question, to be honest, more on that in a minute. But it was basically, hey, have you talked to LT, where your head's at? Are we expecting a competition in the net? And we're good buds. It's going to be good. And I haven't really talked to him a whole lot. Blah 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 blah. Which fine, I get it. It's it's July the 22nd. That this past Saturday, it's the middle of the off season. No one cares about this coming into the fall, but in the back of both of their minds, they know there's going to be a competition. I know there's going to be a competition. Everyone thinks Adin Hill is going to be gifted the net just because of the contract and how last season finished. And I keep going back to this. I don't see that as being the case. I think Adin Hill has to earn the net. I think that Logan Thompson has to earn that, and they're both going to have the opportunity to earn the net. And now everyone likes to say, oh, well, look at that contract. Look how much more Adin Hill makes versus Logan Thompson. Well, Adin Hill made $2.175 last season to Logan Hill's. I did it again, Tony. Logan Hill, I just did it. To Logan Thompson's peanuts of $766,000. So, money doesn't matter in the net. Cassidy's going to put the best player out there.
What was the follow-up question going to be?
The father, what it was. So I got to give Steve Marsh credit. And Steve Marsh talks about the show so much whenever I see him. But Stephen Marsh made a comment to me.
He's a big fan of mine. I know. Okay.
He likes you. He does like you, actually. He does like you. He probably just destroyed his mouse when he read this or closed his phone. But no, so Stephen Marsh basically made the comment to me. He's like, hey, do we know what he's going to do with his hands or something like that? So I wasn't sure if Steve was going to ask him. So I kind of whispered over to Steve while Adin Hill was talking. I said, hey, you going to ask the question? And he kind of shook his head no. So I went for it. And I said, hey, have you figured out what to do with your hands yet? And you got a small chuckle out of Adin Hill, as well as the media members around. And then I think he said, oh, we'll see if we can figure it out tonight or something. And then I scrolled down. He's holding a friggin' Heineken. All the guys were drinking Heineken. That is
because I didn't provide the 7.5 beer this year.
Well, there was 7.5 there too, but
was there a lot of it there?
Came out. There was some out there, yeah. But all the Heineken is the worst summer beer in the planet. It's heavy.
Right.
It's heavy.
A little heavy.
It's a little sharp. It's not like IPA sharp. It's just sharp. You know what I mean?
It's like me, heavy, sharp. It's just like me right now in the summer. I typically lose the weight in the summer.
What a topic. If you and I were a beer, what beer would we be?
I'd be one of those thick Bavarian beers over the summer that you put something salt in there. You put salt in there.
I like banana bread beer, but I don't know if I could compare myself to banana bread beer. I don't know, but try banana bread beer.
I liked it wasn't your question, but someone from the television side had asked Hill about the Larry Johnson jersey. Big UNLV fan. He said his dad was a
I think that was Fox. I think that was Fox. Yeah, we were talking about that in the box. That was really cool.
That's pretty cool. That whole story about how his dad was a UNLV fan. He saw the jersey in the closet. He didn't know it was going to get that type of response. And wow, I just got chills because I thought that was one of the coolest things that he came out wearing a UNLV Larry Johnson jersey from back in the day in the national championship team.
And it wasn't a fluff. Like, it wasn't he went to a random sporting goods store in Vegas to go find it the day of. That's the key. That's the key for me right there.
Yeah, definitely organic, right? And so Riley Smith, you spoke to Riley Smith, organic, unlike me. Riley Smith, the organizer of the annual softball game, traded, of course, to Pittsburgh. It had to have been an emotional night for him.
It was. And, the biggest takeaway for me, and I make it a point to say this so often, you have to remind yourself that these are human beings. I think we talked about this on Friday's show. I know we look at them as pawns and a lot of things in our job. And, for better or for worse, that's not a bad thing at times because that takes the emotion out of it. But you can't forget the emotion on a night like Saturday when, they had an amazing tribute. It was kind of like a welcome back video, but probably even stronger in my opinion. And it was centered around Riley Smith, the organizer of the event. A lot of good takes and stuff like that, and people thanking him around the community. And then, of course, mixed in with highlights along the way, and definitely got people pretty emotional. They literally marched Riley and his family right out to the pitcher's mound while they did this video. So it was kind of interesting to see it like that. But I got like the pictures afterwards of him with his wife and his daughter in front of the trophy. They were doing the firework, watching the fireworks with the trophy on his shoulder. You got that. And after the game, you just saw the players just kind of sitting together with their families, no one really bugging them from the media or anything like that, just having that moments. Back to my discussion with Riley Smith, I asked him if there was like a certain moment besides actually lifting the cup, like if there was a certain image that's painted in his head when he thinks back about the 22-23 run. And he basically couldn't sum it up in one moment. He said there's a lot of moments. In his words, we were lucky to get through a couple of those playoff series, which that was BS. The Golden Knights were not lucky. They just ran over everybody in the playoffs, and there was a lot of skill involved there. But he couldn't sum it up to one moment, really. But he gave me a long answer about why he couldn't sum it up to one moment. I think he said it's unfair to try and, put it into one moment. This is all up on my Twitter, which Locked On is tagged on as well. So you can go back there and find it. But, he's at TD Chris G. Thank you. Yes. If I was a better media person, I would have done it myself. But I saw you complain the other day, Tony. You were watching, I know you complain, don't act shocked. A radio interview of some sort, and like the person like never identified who they were interviewing.
Oh
or
my
something
goodness.
Like that.
Yeah.
That drove you nuts, didn't it?
And it was a national radio host. Okay. And I was
Segment
driving
one,
around
folks,
town.
already off the rails.
Yeah, I'm not going to say who it was because I just have a lot of respect for this person and know this person, but it's a national radio host. 15 minutes, I'm driving around going, who in the world? It drove me nuts. Who in the world are you interviewing? It was a football player. And who are you interviewing right now? It just drove me bananas. And then even at the end, they just kind of threw that in. Okay, we're going to break and we just talked to so-and-so. Whoa. And it just drove me crazy. Also, I do want to address this because I saw a lot of fans whining out there, as VGK fans often do. How come the Raiders weren't tweeting out all of this, all the happenings with, I'm going to explain this, with the Battle for Vegas, okay? This is an officially sanctioned VGK Foundation event, okay? Just set the record straight. The Raiders do not themselves officially endorse this because of players' unions and everything else in the NFL. I just want to set the record straight. That's why the Raiders were not tweeting out the Battle for Vegas. Battle for Vegas is run by the VGK Foundation, essentially, and not the Raiders Foundation.
No, and that's very fair. I guess two comebacks. That one, I think the Raiders at some point would be cool if they hosted something and brought the Golden Knights in, and just to kind of cross promote
Raider
that
Foundation.
I'm not sure how that world works with the Raiders, who they help, but I'm sure they do have something similar. But in addition, it helps the Public Assistance Fund. I hope I got that wording right. And then also Big Sisters, Big Brothers,
every year they
Big Sisters of Nevada.
Every year there's a couple of different charities. That are the beneficiaries. So it's pretty cool.
289,000, I believe, was the final take. Approximately 89,000 of that came from the silent auction items. The most interesting item I saw, remember how everyone put the hats on Riley Smith's lawn after he got that playoff hat trick?
Yeah.
There was one of the silent auction items was a random assortment of hats directly from Riley Smith's lawn.
Now that's cool.
With some autographed memorabilia along the way as well from Riley Smith. And that was like 25 or 100 or $3,000 or something, but just the creativity. I thought that was really cool.
That's pretty cool. And then also to put a wrap on this, we saw VGK won the game in walk-off fashion, right? And you also spoke pregame with Nick Hague, and Jackie Aces needed a few of those Heinekens before he could break out in the celebration.
I got some stuff. So really fast first, I wanted to get Nick Hague. I was just curious where we are in next season preparation right now. Is it still party time? Is it still, hey, won the cup, but no, Nick Hague, he was pretty serious when I asked him. It's back to training. It's back to getting ready for the next season. They're only 8 weeks away. I mean, 8 weeks from now, you think of about like that. I mean, 2 months from now, you'll have training camp going pretty hardcore. I mean, or maybe just starts. I'm not sure. But either way, training camp will be rocking. Actually, probably been pregame or in preseason games 2 months from now. Now I'm looking at the calendar, but Jack Eichel. So this is a setup, right? So I asked Eichel after the Pittsburgh game if he was ever going to bust out like a big epic celebration after a goal comparable to what he did in the softball game. And it got a chuckle from him and the media members around. So I kind of set him up with that on Saturday. I said, hey, what kind of celebration we got planned? I got him as he was walking away. He actually walked right back. And he said, no, I got to figure something out. Got to get a couple more of these in me. Held up a Heineken, I believe, like everyone else was drinking. So in a non-camera moment after the game, Eichel was walking by, and Eichel signed autographs for like probably 45 minutes to anyone and everyone around, by the way, after the game.
Cancer.
He is so terrible for Vegas. But it was pretty funny watching him just, interacting and everything. But I got him and he came over to me and I said, hey, what's up with that celebration? I was expecting more out of you. And he's like, oh, I really had nothing. I was trying to act like I was lifting the cup, and then I kind of fumbled myself and all of that. So it was a good moment, but awesome. The rapport is there. They're starting to get a little rapport with Jack Eichel. I like it. Breaking down those barriers.
Great job out there, by the way. I know that the fans definitely appreciated everything with all your interviews.
It was fun to get back, be back in the fold again. It's making me getting excited for the fall again right now. I can't wait.
No, we need the summer. And coming up next, at even strength in the playoffs, that was the difference, as we know. And Eric Cruikshank of the Hockey Writers broke down even strength scoring for VGK. We'll talk about the numbers coming up next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Today's episode brought to you by a product that we typically use and literally use each and every day. That is AG1 by Athletic Greens. And maybe you're like us, you want to eat healthy, but you're always on the run, especially here in Las Vegas, Chris with the kids and me with my nondescript life. Well, that's no longer the case with AG1. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. It's Monday. With one delicious scoop of AG1 and a glass of water each day, you are absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you get the day started on the right foot. This is a special blend of ingredients that supports everything from your nervous system, your immune health, and your energy, your recovery, all of those things. And it can be hard and very expensive to keep track of all these multiple different supplements and vitamins, not to mention how hard it can be on your stomach. AG1 costs you less than $3 a day, and you're investing in your health. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and to arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to be giving you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network, athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. We are back on this Tuesday edition. You like that? Edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Of course, we come to you now 3 days each week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, typically. And
typically, good word.
Yeah, as needed, we will obviously drop in with any special editions because we're here for the summer and we're here for all of you. We thank you for making us your first listen, and definitely go to the YouTube channel and please subscribe there if you haven't yet at Locked On Golden Knights. So I came across an article over the weekend, Chris, because we're about attribution on this show too. So it was by Eric Cruikshank. I thought it was good of the hockey
It's
writers.
a good article, it really is.
Yeah, he went pretty deep. He wrote an article this weekend which shows VGK's even strength dominance in the playoffs. And there were 66 5-on-5 goals at even strength. And he broke it down by line, which I thought was really interesting. And I want to get your comments because the key to this team's success was not just even strength scoring, but the balanced scoring for the Golden Knights, not just in the playoffs, but all season. Where what do they have? We said last week 5 players with over 60 or more points, I think it was. And so the first line, even strength, 18 goals. The second line, well, that's not the Carlson line. Whose line is that? Okay, is that the Howden line? Okay, the second line was 16 goals. 18 goals for line number 1. Second line had 16. 16 for the third line. 8 goals for the fourth line. And defensemen had 8 goals, all at even strength.
11, 12. Perfect timing. You gave me time to count up how many VGK players had 10 or more goals last season. And 12 players had 10 or more goals in the regular season. So definitely the balanced attack was one of the many, but probably the primary key to victory. Something else popped in my head about William Karlsson's defensive play. Tony, there you go. I just had to get that one in there.
Go. Get it in there.
No, just his 5-on-5 play and all the stats that, and Jack Eichel too. Both of them were really solid as far as the plus minus side goes.
Was Vegas Bjorn at the softball game? I didn't see any.
No, I was busting some chops about that one. I felt that him not being there was a fail. I think that would have made things a little more interesting, but that's okay. It's probably for the better because it's a family environment and you just never know what's going to happen there.
Still hungover.
But yeah, just the balanced attack. And I think you have to attribute this to the health, first of all. I mean, the Golden Knights really ran over the playoffs in a extremely dominating fashion. You could argue it's one of, not the most dominating, but one of the most dominating playoff performances in, since the NHL went to the every round being a best out of 7. I mean, Winnipeg wins the first game, and then really Vegas doesn't look back after that. That was the only time Vegas trailed in the entire playoffs, if you look at it like that too. So that's pretty remarkable by itself. And the balanced scoring and the health is certainly a big key. The article highlighted Amadio and Howden's contributions to having basically your secondary talent alongside of your primary talent out there and what happened. And, I think a lot of this starts with Ivan Barbashev in getting line 1 going, which then throws off all the matchups and things like that, because now the Golden Knights become a defensive matchup nightmare. 18 goals, 16 goals, 16 goals for lines 1, 2, and 3. So who do you put your top pair against when you look at those numbers? Because whoever the top pair goes against, the other 2 lines are going to be salivating because they're going to get the lesser defenseman.
What's crazy is you would think that it would be heavily weighted for the top 6.
Well, that's the thing right there. So how many times we talked in the preseason about line 3? Line 3 is always going to be the biggest concern for most teams. I mean, let's face it, you can find 4 physical players, hopefully comparable to a Vegas Golden Knights line 4 that has the right blend of skill and physicality. You can find a pretty good line 1, although it took Vegas basically 68 games to get there until they found Ivan Barbashev, wherever that number exactly was. And then everything kind of fell into place once Mark Stone came back. So once line 3, which you could still argue which one was technically line 3, whether it was the Brett Howden line or Michael Amadio line. There you go, Tony.
There you go. Yeah, pretty interesting, again, with these numbers. And that was the key to success for the Golden Knights. And defensemen even chipped in with 8 goals.
Yeah.
Right? And the fourth line had 8 goals. I can't believe how balanced, and these numbers are tremendous in that it just bears out again, consistent scoring and then balanced scoring. And they score a lot on 5v5. And it's going to be interesting, I think, now, what do they do for an encore? I want to see how they play moving forward in this upcoming season. if that's going to be the strength of this team, if they will bolster the power play has to be better, right?
Not to steal maybe a segment for later in the week, but if the special teams on both sides improved, I think the Golden Knights were middle of the road penalty kill, if I'm not mistaken, and lower third, the top of the lower third, like 22 or 23 for the power play. I could be wrong. It's the offseason, folks, but it's that ballpark.
Right.
If the Golden Knights improve their special teams play, this could be an equally as successful regular season, with the Golden Knights doing well in the Pacific, being amongst the tops of the West. And then obviously the playoffs are a whole new beginning. You never know what's going to happen there. But again, the Golden Knights, they still got the band together. They're really only, there's two, I won't say key changes, one key change, one, kind of secondary change as far as next year's opening day lineup is concerned. Of course, Riley Smith is gone, but Ivan Barbashev is in. Barbashev obviously did what he did with line one, and that's going to help from the get-go, I think. Phil Kessel, I don't see a path to him returning. I say that unfortunately, because I really hope they could have found a way to keep him in Vegas.
Maybe Detroit.
I think he stays, I think, in Florida in the offseason when he's not up in Toronto. So I think the chalk is Toronto or Florida, in my opinion.
Wouldn't that be
possibly
funny?
even Florida.
That would be hilarious if he went to Toronto.
It would be. He's not going. I don't see a path to him going to like a bottom feeder, like a Sharks team, just so he can keep his streak going. I think he's going to want to go somewhere that gives him a shot to kind of keep that streak going, but also a team that has a shot to do something. In Florida, they've been moving some pieces around, so he could probably find a comfortable spot in that Florida lineup. And who knows, maybe he gets up there on that top line with Tkachuk or something like that. And then the sky is the limit where Kessel, he's going to have a bounce back year. He's not going to get 36 points, I don't think, like he did this past season in Vegas.
Someone's going to pay him, what, $1 million? No way.
I think $1 million's a good number. I think that's fair. I think that's the number. I mean, listen, Kessel, he knows the business side of this too. And he understands that the team he goes to has the Iron Man. And that was a very notable story here in Vegas. Obviously he was breaking records and stuff early on with the 1,000 consecutive games plus, everything. So,
plus,
I mean,
but you also get the downside where he holds back, tries to preserve his body, and he does not give 100% each and every game.
That's a fair statement. Is it not giving 100%, or is it simply
he's preserving his body? He's preserving himself for the next game.
Listen, it's like Cam Newton not jumping on a fumble when he drops the ball and stuff like that. I get it. I get what you're saying. But there may be a team that is, who's a good like younger team that's on the verge, and then obviously Detroit would be a good example of that, because Detroit is knocking on the door. They made the deal for DeBrincat, obviously. DeBrincat, we've argued. I still say there's something up with DeBrincat. Maybe Kessel could be a good mentor for DeBrincat. I mean, you look back at all the positivity that was swirling around him in Vegas. DeBrincat, I still am wondering what's up with him as far as the locker room and why someone in their prime is on their third team in 3 years, and a superstar in their prime is a better way to say that. So, maybe Detroit would be a good landing spot for him. I don't see him. He's definitely not going back to Toronto, because he's given them the ultimate troll job by bringing the cup there every summer. That's so good. He is amazing. He's so awesome.
Speaking of the cup, where was the Stanley Cup this past weekend?
There we go.
We need a little GPS tracker on that cup. We do. Where is it
the
going?
Santa NORAD tracker. The Santa NORAD tracker.
There you go. On Locked On Golden Knights. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Wow, I got the Cassidy. Wow, look at this, man.
You do it more than you think. I just don't tell you because I like it.
Yeah, thanks for making us your first listen.
You got nothing for that one.
No, that was great though. I just was like Bruce Cassis way is what I started to call him during the season. But he cooled down, like in the postseason. He was a little bit more composed.
Knowing you're most likely going to win a Stanley Cup will do that to a human being. It'll relax you a little bit.
And thanks again to everyone for subscribing to the YouTube channel, yes. Locked On Golden Knights, each and every Friday. Of course, as well, it's WTF, What the Friday. So over this past weekend, an emotional day with the Stanley Cup for Kelly McCrimmon.
Yeah.
He had the cup, and he took it to the Wheat Kings facility in Brandon, Manitoba. So he had this photo of him standing in front of this big picture of his brother,
it was nice.
Brad McCrimmon, who passed away in that horrific plane crash, September the 7th of 2011, and he died with that locomotive team from the KHL. 43 team members were killed on the flight, and this was in memory of Brad McCrimmon. For Kelly McCrimmon, it was a pretty emotional time, I have to believe, for Kelly McCrimmon.
Of course. And again, the human side of this, folks, just don't forget that it exists. And it's real life. And, watching, like, people don't necessarily look at the human side of Kelly McCrimmon, right? They're looking at the moves he makes. They're evaluating everything he does with the team. There's still people that are mad that Derek England isn't out there on the ice, and that Marc-Andre Fleury didn't get to lift the cup and have it passed to him by someone like Derek England. And
why isn't Derek England a coach on this VGK team or on the AHL level?
I mean, maybe he doesn't want to be. I don't know. That's a fair question. I don't know where Derek's head is at. I know, he's a hockey dad like myself. He is on the ice coaching his kid. He's on the ice helping develop talent around the Valley. I mean, when my kid was doing the Learn to Skate program, but he was on the hockey side of it, I lost count of how many times Derek England was one of the coaches out there. So, maybe he's just enjoying being a dad and giving back to the community. And he's involved with the VGK Foundation. And I think he is still an employee of the Golden Knights. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure he's still getting a paycheck from the Golden Knights. So, he's doing his thing. I believe he was the first unofficial coach when the Henderson Silver Knights took the ice at the Orleans Arena for a preseason game, because I think there was a COVID issue with Vivros and all the assistant coaches. So Derek England had to suit up and get behind the bench. So, we'll see there.
Yeah, Brad McCrimmon, back to him. I'm sorry, yes. I interrupted you.
No, you're good. You're good. No, but I don't know. I mean, obviously it's his brother. I don't know a lot about the connection and things like that. But, seeing that picture standing there, you just have to, wonder the emotion and the feeling of, a photo like that. And it's good to see McCrimmon just having that moment. He's earned that moment for his family. And, McCrimmon plan realized.
Brett Howden of the Brett Howden line had the Stanley Cup over the weekend, brought it to the golf course. Come on.
That's so cliche. Isn't that cliche? It's
just the cookie cutter approach. Put the stinking baby in the cup, water in the background. I had to retweet that, obviously, on Locked On VGK. That was me trolling everyone.
The cup is clean. 999% stainless steel. It deflects. Dr. John Strickland. I don't know if this is necessary. I don't know if bacteria is your area of strength, but please feel free to give us the skinny on how
we did have asbestos falling from the ceiling that one show, which is kind of crazy. I don't know. Okay, but no, bacteria is not my thing. It's not my steez, as they say. So what about where are you going with this?
I don't know. No, just talk about Howden and stuff. I mean, I know we're joking about the cliche of the golf and all that, but there's
always water in the pictures. Come on. Like, there's water in the background.
Yeah, Mike Amadio was whispering sweet nothings into the Stanley Cups here the one day. I know that they had a nice walk on the beach or wherever he was in and all that. So, and really, I want to go back to McCrimmon. Just one more quick takeaway there that we can go back to Howden or wherever you want to go with this. The picture of McCrimmon with the Stanley Cup on his desk in the ice rink back there, he just looks so relaxed and smiling. It's on the Vegas Golden Knights Twitter. I think I retweeted with hashtag McCrimmon plan, but he just looks so relaxed. Had that smile like, yep, I did it. So I love this. Okay, that was my moment for that.
So what are the FanDuel odds first to make the announcement that they will be having a child next? FanDuel odds.
I mean, who was a healthy scratch going back to about October?
The softball game last night, Carlson.
Let's see.
Carlson was on the couch. She sent him to the couch after.
I don't know. Nick Hague. He was in the contract kind of holdout dispute. He had just come back. I don't know. Maybe he had some time to kill. I don't know. I'm just trying to think about that.
Just waiting for arbitration.
There you go. Okay. There you go.
And then on Tuesday, Mark Stone. So cliche. Guess where he's taking the cup on Tuesday?
To a golf course with water.
To the golf course.
to a golf course on a coast somewhere.
Oh my
I don't know.
goodness.
You know what's kind of getting me right now? Like even Jack Eichel was asked about his day with the cup at the softball game, and he mentioned it was kind
Did
of
you
a
ask him why he
relaxing
kept
day.
his shirt on?
No, I didn't, and I probably should have taken that somewhere.
Yeah, you could.
But he said, didn't someone asked him? I don't know if it was Fox or Channel 8 about it, but someone asked him, was the cup was your day with the cup what you felt it was going to be? Did it meet your expectations? And he said, no, not really. But I don't know what your expectations realistically can be versus what that moment's going to be like. But where I'm ultimately going with this is here. We haven't seen the cup get in a whole lot of trouble since Vegas.
No.
And I'm still wondering who the first one is going to, you're just going to see that Stanley Cup in the background with someone with glazed over eyes and all that.
In the club. You need
I feel like Mark
nightclub.
Stone could be that guy. I feel like Mark Stone could be that guy.
Okay.
I don't know if he stopped
it on the
partying.
golf course, find the water outlet for the background.
I think William Karlsson's going to behave. I think he's got some image cleanup to do right now.
Is that going to go to Sweden? Do you think the cup will go to Sweden? I think
so. I think it can go. I think it can keep on going. I wouldn't be surprised if it made its way around Europe.
Yeah, interesting. And the Conn Smythe trophy they took around as well. I thought perhaps that Jonathan Marchessault would keep that here for the entirety of the season.
It's on tour?
That was somewhere on tour, yeah.
Was it on tour, or was it the picture of it actually getting Marchessault's leaf put on it, so to speak? I don't know.
Who knows?
Because now he's officially on the Connie Smythe.
Okay, the one thing we do know is that we will be back again on Wednesday. We appreciate everyone tuning in.
Once we get fired before then, it's always, I mean, that's a moving target. You could have middled like 3 times in the offseason.
Yeah, we just hope that today is not the day that they pick our show to watch.
Nah, we're fine. We're good.
They're in the viewing room. We appreciate you tuning in. Go to the YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. Please subscribe there. And, of course, follow us wherever you get your podcast and on Twitter at Locked On VGK, at TD Chris G.
Yes, you got my name again. Good. You did it. We were close on how often, like how much time goes by before you have to identify me. So you were right there. You hit it. You're good.
For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We appreciate you tuning in. And we'll see you again on Wednesday right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Take care.